Alrighty. Disclaimer, like I mentioned, I opened up a position in Axon this week. Shopping time. Have been on my watch list for quite some time, but I thought, hey, missed the boat. Let's wait. So this time when markets were red, I went to my shopping list and said, which one do I want to buy now? So Axon came into my picture. So yeah, I looked at it day before yesterday, opened up a position. So what is this company about? So this, maybe let's first go into the history, then we'll come back to their mission statement. Zifty says, I thought the same thing, EXXON. EXXON has been around for ages. This is not that everyone knows about it, but I love to look at some of the companies, which, sometimes these companies are not that well known, but still could turn out to be great investments, right? So again, my thesis is maybe this Axon is now at a right point in their journey where they could be becoming a good from an investment perspective. It's not a new company. It's been there for 25 plus years. So a little bit of history. This company, in 1969, NASA researcher Jack Cover began to develop a non-lethal electric weapon to help police officers control suspects, right? As an alternative to firearms. It's a great thing, right? Use less bullets. Have non-lethal way to control. So developed a device which is called Tom Swift electronic rifle. Tom Swift electric rifle, Taser. It was based on some novel. And then he added an acronym, letter A to this acronym to make it Taser. So this company was known as Taser Incorporation for quite some time. And it came to IPO and listed in IPO, where was it? In 2001. So company has been around since 1980s. It's not a new company. It's been there for almost 30 years now. Oh, almost 40 years now. And had some ups and downs. The device were unsuccessful, almost going to bankruptcy, buying out some competitors, and they had a deficit in 2001, 6.8 million deficit. And eventually in May, they became public. So it's not a new IPO. So don't ask me to go and review the S1. It's been almost 20-year-old S1, right? But so why are we talking about this company now? The Taser's device is the one device that police forces use in US. People knew this company from that name as a Taser International, right? And they've been very taking actions against their competitors to basically safeguard their patent and all that. So they got a lot of patents on this particular technology, have been doing good. So why are we talking about this now? Because the company has transformed itself after, in last few years, it's been transforming itself from being just a device company, from being just a Taser device company, to a SaaS company. Go figure. How can a company working with this law enforcement, what are they talking about to become a SaaS company now? So that's what piqued my interest. I'm like, okay, add it to my shopping list. So now I did some, and let's now dig deeper into what this company does and why it could be, from an investing perspective. Let's review this. So as always, let's look at the mission of this company, their mission statement. Axon's mission is to protect life. Plain, simple, short, relatable, Some of the things that I look in mission statement is that easy to understand. Yes. Make sense? Absolutely. Do I relate to it? Does it, jive with what I want to focus on? Yes. Does it provide optionality to it? Yes. So all good things. How they plan to do? Number one, to obsolete the bullet, provide alternatives to law enforcement so that they don't have to use deadly firearms, but use something else which will help them in controlling the suspects, etc., but without causing serious injury. So starting with taser. Reduce the social conflicts. This is the first step. Then you reduce the conflicts. Who did what? And with all the social issues going around police brutality and all that stuff, Taser, this company which was known for a taser, quickly realized that we can actually help the society by removing the conflict, because now everything could be recorded. You don't have to hear only the one side version. You don't have to hear only the law enforcement side version. The truth will be recorded. So they moved from just providing a taser, expanded their business onto the body cams, which had been reducing our complaints, 88%. The third is to enable fair and effective justice systems. Means they got other devices, apps around looking at that incident, capturing evidence as and when it happens, storing in a cloud, using AI, and make sure all the information is captured and stored and is available for everyone to you. So that's where it becomes more and more interesting. So let's look at more details on how this company has been doing. So like I said, the evolution started with pre-2010 was just taser. Last decade, 2010 to 2019, they added more stuff onto it. So that's why they actually changed their name from Taser International to Axon, because they wanted to go beyond just a single device. So one of their products is evidence.com. So Munna says, for some reason, remind about the Minority Report. Stop it before it happens. So anyway, so evidence.com is the website wherein, if law enforcement, when they're engaged into any conflict, all the body cameras, all the video and feed from body cameras get actually stored in evidence.com. And then it runs all AI, etc., and it will wipe out any of the PII information, depending on who the consumer of that is and all that stuff. So this is, they got, and all it's available in a searchable format. So a lot of AI goes into it, and it's amazing a service that they're providing. Of course, body-worn cameras, Taser continue to be there. Now they're looking at the third phase. That's where it becomes more and more interesting, is adding other services like Axon records, dispatch services, fleet services, etc. So we'll get into the details of this, right? Evidence.com already talked about. Axon records is a new one. And surprising to see that many of the officers, majority officers have to do a lot of paperwork, and they have to spend 2/3 of their time in doing paperwork. So when do they spend time with the community then? I mean, today there's a lot of distrust is because most of the enforcement officers, they are not part of their community. They're not active in the community because they got other stuff to do. Now, if you can take some time off, take some time from their regular schedule, which is like filing of a paperwork, authorities could do a little more good in their community, be physically more present in the community. So what Axon Records does is basically collect the information in electronic format automatically. So based on the conversations that have happened, during the encounter, it automatically start up fill up the papers, use the AI, etc., so that officer don't have to fill everything from scratch. So that's again new service. Axon Dispatch, new service. So dispatchers can see where the officers are, right? And now this Axon Dispatch is not only used by law enforcement. Even the government of Chile used it to monitor the supply chain of the COVID vaccinations, right? So this is in one area where probably they would never thought how their technology could get used, right? Expanding of their TAM. So total addressable market. So generally I see management would be over ambitious and give a high TAMs. And I think in this case, probably it's the other way around. They've been conservative in terms of what the technologies could be used and what format it could be used. Like, why would anyone expect, no one would have expected that a tech meant for law enforcement actually is being used for monitoring the supply chain of COVID. But some governments have figured it out to use that tech. Overall, 27 billion is their TAM. Largely, mostly it is 60% of that, their TAM side, they say it's domestic. So while the TASER has been there around for quite some time, these are their next growth engine, right? Axon Cloud, Axon Records that we talked about. And this cloud is where, all their, the AI and everything, their tech comes into play. The digital evidence management, which is evidence.com, real-time operations using the dispatch and all that information being fed into that cloud. Body cameras, fleet in-car cameras, air drones to capture what has been happening around that area at the time of incident. All that is their next growth engines. International growth, we haven't even talked about that. This company and the products of this company are being used by many, the PDs of many counties across the US. Domestic in the US, it grew 34% year over year. Not as big as, let's say, 70% growth in Asana, but this is not Asana, right? It works with the government departments. It works with the local police departments. We always have a, the counties and the states, they always have a budget constraints and all that stuff. So their domestic growth, still they manage 34% year growth. International, they manage 70%. So international is growing at almost double the rate of what the US growth rate is. And today, I think the international is only 20-25% of their overall revenue. So there are a lot of growth opportunities outside of US that has yet to be factored in. They got the AR, VR tools. So AR, VR is basically being used to deliver training to officers, empathy training to officers, how to use, how to de-escalate a situation, how to handle the cases wherein mental health is involved. You need to train those officers. So what they are using, what the Axon is building are the training modules using AR and VR. And of course, they have a lot of footage from the real life situations on their evidence.com, which then can now be used to improve upon their training modules. Then there are other stuff. For example, they got a signal sidearm, means the moment you take on the officers take their sidearm off from holster, basically start recording everything. They got a flex cameras and whatnot. Moving from legacy to the Axon. This one, the real-time operations, right? On any incident situation, all these things are provided by Axon. GPS-enabled heat maps, which officer is where. Synchronized video recording of all the officers on site, so that you're not getting only one view, but you're getting an overall view of, depending on how many officers are there, everything's recorded. And I think the beauty lies in their AI software to basically collate everything and create a meaningful view of that situation. Real-time view of the present devices, live streaming of the situations, and everything gets recorded, so that, hey, at the end of the day, we have to make sure that justice is served. It means there's been no tampering, or we don't have to depend on only one side of the version of truth. So the role of Axon strategic growth areas during public safety incident: citizen captured evidence. Axon software make it easy to capture digital evidence, including CCTV or from a citizen mobile. Dispatch solution enables officers to arrive knowing that critical information already. Now, once the officer is on scene, a taser device may or may not be deployed. If deployed, all use of force data is logged into evidence.com, and real-time alerts are sent back to the dispatch and the command. And an officer leaves, the body cameras and the fleet cameras capture video evidence, which is stored safely in evidence.com. Live streaming provides real-time situation awareness back to the dispatch. Then officer comes back to their stations. They have to file in the incident report. Rather than spending 60% of their time in doing paperwork, Axon Records will incorporate the video into the incident log, use AI to fill most of that incident, and save officers time. And the incident data, the video, interviews, all those are available and can be viewed by prosecutors, defense attorney, media, and the community and public, to enable a fair and equitable justice system. So apart just from being a taser company, it's evolving more into providing all the help to enable fair and equitable justice. Right. That's more around what taser is, what the overall products looks like. Now, what they're also doing is bundling their products, into different bundles, and then trying to upsell some of the services, at least the newer services. So for example, one of the bundle could be you buy taser camera and you get Axon Records for free for a year. And once, everyone knows, no one wants to type or spend time in filling up the paperwork. Doctors don't want to, but they have to because of insurance requirements. Police officers won't want to, but they have to because justice system will demand an incident report. So, but if you get addicted and Axon Records does a good job, you get it for free for a year, you're not going to go back and say, oh, no, you know what? I want to fill in the paperwork myself. So they do bundle some of the stuff in which will give some of these as a freebie to get their feet in the door and then start charging for them later. You can go into, they have multiple bundles available on adding different services based on what they think customers would want it. There is a flywheel effect we see on using this, because they're building products and bundles that give our customers powers to ensure everyone gets home safe. This creates more users, more people, and more nodes. That's why if we find that the use of body cameras has enabled in a better justice for all, then the other departments will start to use the body cameras as well. And more data goes onto their network, which will create more data. We can unlock more value with the machine learning and AI we use that to create even more great products and bundles. They started with one product company, probably not an attractive from my investment perspective, but now they've expanded a lot of optionality coming into it. And now with the recurring revenue on the evidence.com, Axon records, recurring revenue, subscription revenue, that's great. And we have yet to see, well, that's a part of their 3.0 avatar, is building the whole Axon cloud and, enabling, do their part for fair justice, right? Competition, they had one competitor called View Video, something like that, and they bought them over. That company was in body cameras. They bought it. For now, I think they don't have any big competitor which does everything, right? They might have a competition in one particular part, but at least I wasn't able to find, and frankly, I didn't spend too much time on it, but good enough to figure out that they got a fairly decent, they are fairly entrenched into this area, and they don't have any significantly big competitor. But if you find something else, do let me know. Happy to dig deeper into that. So pretty good from that perspective, right? Well, let's look at from a financials, right? How are they doing from financials perspective? Well, this is not a growth company that we can forgive everything, but this has been existing for now 20 plus years. $289 million recurring revenue, close to 120% NRR, which is great. We talked about Asana 130%. Here 120%. If you compare with those software SaaS companies, you will say, oh, not attractive, but understand the customer profile. Their customers are all PD departments where there's been a lot of focus and eyes on the money that is going into law enforcement. There's a whole movement around defunding police departments. So even in the current scenario, they're able to increase their revenue from existing customers, existing PD departments by 120%. I think that's good. It means they're bringing in more, and the additional services that they're providing is liked by their customers. Right. So let's look at Q3 2021 results. Oh, okay. So some of them is here. Maybe let's open up this presentation. I don't look at that prior because I said I wasn't fully ready. Well, let's look at now. Come on, there we go. Okay, there we go. 840K plus TASER devices globally. 73% of the revenue generated from recurring bundles. That's what we want to see. Subscription revenue increasing. 77% cloud gross margin. I don't know what's the overall margin. EBITDA margin is 23%. But I would still say it's a decent growth. 26%, close to 23% CAGR is a good growth for a company like this. Have been consistently growing their revenue from 268 million to an ARR of close to 700 million in 4 years. Okay, so the one which I had in my document had a screenshot from their August presentation, investors presentation. So it looks like after that, they have realized, which I suspect that they are probably low on TAM, but now looks like, yeah, they've increased their TAM already. It's now from 27, it is almost double. Okay, to $52 billion That's from the same deck. Where is the? I want to see the financials of Q3. Oh, there we go. Okay, from a quarter perspective, 46% CAGR in last 4 years. If you compare Q3, percentage of revenue tied to subscription bundles has been increasing. That is what I want to see in a SaaS company. Strategic R&D driving to 70% plus target gross margins. 2020 gross margin right now 63%. On the Taser side, long term it's 70%. So they're hitting for overall 30% gross margin, including the hardware, software, everything else. So, and what are they looking at? By 2030, we believe Taser will obsolete the bullet. AI will eliminate paperwork. Cloud and IoT will transform communications that happen from the site. Guess that's it. So I am now bullish just because of the additional services that they have been adding onto their platform. And now it makes an interesting company to look at. So let me see if we have their P&L. So let's go to, well, they should have the SEC filings in here. Financials, SEC filings, quarterly results, PDF. See, okay. Financial statements, where's the P&L? Okay, so let's look at some numbers. So we look at the qualitatively, let's look at some numbers. Net sales from products in 2020, so overall from 166 to 231, maybe around 26-30% growth. Good OpEx, so from a overall loss, net income or loss, or they swung from a net loss to income. What did they do? Oh, one big thing is their benefit from their income taxes. So, to figure out, was it as compared to last year? What exactly is provision or benefit from income taxes? Anyone CPA knows from this one? What exactly does mean provision or benefit from income taxes? Net income, comprehensive income or a loss. So it is making money in this quarter, overall yearly. So 9 months ended. If you look at it, swung into loss. What did they do? Income loss from operations, 141 billion. So we see sales and general administrative has almost doubled as compared to last year. So what did they do? It could be because now they are selling more of the additional services. I'll have to dig deeper into this to figure out why their expenses have gone up almost 80% as compared to last year. It could be because they're getting new products, and that's the reason why it has gone. So we'll dig deeper out. But so far, I mean, I liked what I saw in this company. Instead of being just one product, it's expanding their TAM, expanded their business. Yeah, I won't mind taking my initial position. So I built an initial position in this week. Again, not gonna go dump my truckload on this one. We'll watch and see how it does in future. We'll do a little more deep dive into what those expenses are. And but so far I like it. If you see that doesn't perform, We'll change our investment thesis. That's what we learn in the markets is our thesis doesn't work out. Okay, fine. But at least we have a thesis to begin with. We don't have to depend on someone saying, yeah, just buy it. For now, I like this one. Axon EPS, minus 300%. Yeah, it could be, I think, because of what we just saw on their expenses. Let's look at EPS this year. Yeah, so we'll have to figure out in terms of what, and I don't buy in terms of, looking at on this particular quarter, why they had to spend so much on their sales and marketing. If it is all for good reasons, I'll give it a pass for them. But so that's the investigation still have to do, is why there's S&M increase so much, and did their corresponding revenue growth, did they have that as well? So let's it increased, but not at the correspondingly at the same rate, right? Yeah. So we'll figure out if it is because they are including new services and now they have to re-educate their customer, hire more salespeople, or build new services. Because when you're building cloud, it could be just a part of your initial CapEx investment, right? Or building up a sales fleet to sell these new services, then it's a one-time expense. So we'll see. All right. Again, so far so good. So yeah, I like this one. Not a typical new growth, high flying startup company. It's been pretty old, 30-year-old company, but now pivoting their business model where it makes more interesting for me. Is there any VC funding in this? Oh, I don't know. Man, it's such an old company. Maybe they did take it or not. I have no idea. This is money losing company hyped by gun lovers. So maybe we'll look at in terms of previous years. I mean, this year it of course is bled money, but like I said, the reason could be different. We'll look at how they have been doing it year over year. All right, maybe an investment in SaaS. Yeah. So Zifty, AR, VR requires hardware, headset, capital intensive. Yeah, so, and again, building your cloud is not easy. Right? Depending on how, I don't know if the AR, VR, how big have they gone on it, but that is one another business area. So cool. So that was Axon Enterprises for y'all. Good to review a little different company in a different business model that we generally focus on. It's not really a software company, but making use of software and now building a subscription service, which is exciting. So I had fun looking at this company and reviewing it. Cool. So that's all for today. Any last minute questions before I rush out?